That lifestyle is the system. I mean, you not only have enemies on the street, you have police out there too.
Welcome to Albany, my place of birth, where before they show you love, they gotta hate you first. Where they don't believe in you until you make it first. And the best transportation is a vacant hearse. Love is not reciprocating, getting chicken get you hated. Every hood the same way, same book, different pages.
And I'm Liz Bishop. We begin with a death in Albany, a shooting in a public park.
Our top story here, a Christmas night call to stop the violence in Albany. That after a deadly shooting on Monday, the second shooting in that part of the city in just a week.
In mourning with a mission. 8 homicides in the city of Albany this year, the most recent earlier this week. Now, residents say they want their safety and their neighborhood freed from the grip of fear. Matt Markham is live at the scene of one of those shootings earlier this week.
A man with multiple gunshot wounds injured on the sidewalk on First Street near Judson. Yellow evidence markers now show the very spot where police say it happened.
Pure violence is such an important part of the work that we're doing in the city of Albany.
So Trinity Alliance is a 104-year-old organization in Albany, and we're very proud to have the Cure Violence program here in Albany. The reason that I think it's so important and why it is sort of the foundation for everything else we do is that I think about all the children who are affected by violence.
A group with the mission of ending the violence took their message out to the streets.
Stop the shooting! Stop the shooting! Save our lives! Save our lives!
A familiar chant coming from a familiar group. Snug or gun spelled backwards has brought its anti-violence message to the streets of Albany for years now. On Christmas night, armed with pamphlets and flyers, hoping to draw attention now to avoid more scenes like this, where 37-year-old Sylvester Scott was shot and killed Monday morning at the corner of Grand and Elm Street.
Violence treats violence as a disease. Same way you can catch a cold, someone can be exposed to violence, and by them being exposed to violence, it becomes a learned behavior.
Sure that every neighborhood is safe, and really more importantly, to help particularly young people see a future for themselves. And so if we can work with Cure Violence and encourage the work that they're doing to be out in the neighborhoods, talking to young people, looking at what causes violence and what perpetuates violence.
Well, Liz, after a crime like this one, it's not unusual for another one similar to it to come within hours. A few hours ago, it did seem like something was about to happen.
Oh my God!
That's about 24 people chasing someone down the street after police had left the area. Whether it was connected to the killing of 21-year-old Latwan Hankins is unknown. Officers had been standing by as a crowd gathered around a memorial on the basketball court. People who say they knew him told me only that he was a cool person who never bothered anyone and had graduated Albany High School. Most of the men here were not interested in speaking with reporters, including one of the 3 who was shot Wednesday night around 8 o'clock. Hankins' father died last year from a heart attack. City Council member Mark Robinson was a family friend.
I mean, his father was the best of friends. You know, he was a young guy. You know, he wasn't really about, causing trouble. I mean, growing up in a community where, poverty is at an all-time high, lack of opportunity, lack of jobs. I mean, it's the norm.
From a block where it go down that, where niggas saying they real but they hang around rats. When you press them they tell lies, can't put out facts. Niggas pillow talk simple, see where they do that at. Where they rapping or they trapping in my hood just to make it out.
Comes together to take back their community after 2 shootings over the weekend. The group locally is just one of many across the state that receives state funding to help out in their fight against violence.
Shabay Green, a violence interrupted at Albany Cure Violence. I've been here 2 years. I canvass the community. I try to change the norms for the kids today, show them the positive way in the community. I try to change their mindset and show them they don't got to shoot and kill each other.
Name's Mr. Cancer. A lot of people know me as Sleaze. Come to the program to bring a different
atmosphere at Downtown View. You know, there's no representation in cure violence from downtown on the side. And that's just what I plan to do, you know. I feel like I got a story to tell that can help change somebody's life. And to have somebody avoid going through the things that I went through.
Well, good afternoon, Sabrina. The State Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman, has scheduled a 1 p.m. news conference where he plans to release more details of the investigation. We're told 52 defendants are facing charges. Live in Albany's South End and are said to be part of the OGK gang, known as Original Gangsta Killers. In court, attorneys are being handed copies of wiretaps, as well as lists of phone calls that were monitored and an organizational chart of the alleged conspiracy.
How you doing, brothers? My name is Brother Demetrius. I'm new to Cure Violence, new with the team. I feel like, you know, Cure Violence is going to help me offer my experience with gangs and prison. It's going to give me the opportunity to share my experience with someone who comes from the same type of environment and the conditions as me. So I would like to take my, you know, life and use it as a, you know, something as an example that can help someone else so they won't make the same mistakes I had.
My name is Sean Cooks. I'm new to the Cure the Violence team. What I take from this is that I think this is a great platform to get more in tune with the youth and show them that there's other positive things to do in the streets besides just being in the streets, and helping me to use the negative things that I've went through with prison and gangs and stuff, and showing them that, you know, you can always change. You don't always have to do what the masses doing. Don't always have to be a part of negativity in the hood. You can always change a new leaf and always start over. So that's what I'm working with now.
Sun on my mind, I was busy trying to find, I was drunk, getting high with my gun, didn't care about nothing. Whoa. Sucks hanging with just some young niggas. At the bottom, got it from crime, nigga. Now 250 in the slum, nigga. Pocket full and this fish for nigga. Say never know. All the shit I'm seeing, I never.
Evelyn Soundless, and I'm the director of the Dream Club, which was formerly Club Zoe, and we have a youth center that serves underserved children and youth here in the south end of Albany. Actually, our organization is based on this poem that great it is to dream the dream when you stand in youth by the starry stream. But a greater thing is to fight life through and say at the end the dream is true. So we believe that there's a dream for every young person and child, and through the years we've been very involved in the lives of some of the young people who have come through our doors, and a number of youth have been lost to violence on the street, and I have been out on the streets often, you know, holding kids after homicides and just trying to console children whose hearts are broken because of the loss of a friend or a family member.
And the lives of young people free from violence.
They don't have no faith. So it's hard to believe in God when you don't have faith. So we've got to find some strategic ways to get these children attracted and engaged in something constructive.
We reached out to the Albany Police Department about the war between Albany and Troy gangs, but they refused our request, saying the city of Albany doesn't even have a problem with gangs. But what we're hearing on the streets is telling a different story.
I've spoken with Albany Police, I've spoken with Troy Police, and both of them have said that neither city has a gang problem. Do you think there's any truth to that, or do you think that they're not telling the whole story?
They don't want you to know. It's a gang problem everywhere. It's not just Albany and Troy.
Tool helped lead the rally that turned into a march through the West Hill and Arbor Hill neighborhoods hit with so much violence this year.
There's been one organization that's been there for me, and it's been the one place I've been able to turn and call and find people who can understand my concern and who have been willing to get involved, and that is the Albany Cure Violence. They've actually sent workers to me when children have been in great risk out on the streets, whether it's from gang violence or just uptown, downtown situations, and they've been awesome, and I'm so thankful that I've had them, because if it hadn't been for Cure Violence, I really wouldn't have had anywhere to turn where people can understand the young people that I really care about.
We follow an evidence-based model that successfully reduces gun violence in the communities we serve. Cure Violence takes a public health approach to stopping shootings and killings, focused on interrupting violence and the transmission of the norms that promote it. We believe violence is a disease and it can be transmitted from one person to another the same way a common cold can be treated by exposure. Same way if you have a problem with someone, your friends ultimately have the problem with that same individual. This is the transmission we are trying to interrupt and replace with a new way of thinking. We feel you cannot take something away from someone without giving them something to replace that void. We try to replace it with new tools on handling conflicts and a new way of reacting to violence. We are funded by DCJS, New York's Division of Criminal Justice Services. We work closely with DCJS to ensure the program is implemented correctly and that it receives the support needed to be successful. We are located in the West Hill, Arbor Hill section, which is the epicenter of the gun violence in Albany. Our partnership with Albany Medical Center gives us the clearance to enter the emergency room after a shooting and when the family emotions are running wild. So we help calm some of the chaos so their loved ones can receive the best care in a more calm setting. Right across the street right here, where a young man was murdered. He was approximately 20-something years old. He was sitting in his vehicle and someone came up and shot him. They had a memorial out here for him. But as you see, it's gone right now because too many people gathered out there at night in the store. It just caused chaos in the store. But this is First and 12, and this is one of our main spots that we like to visit in our target area.
Lying if I said you was welcome. Everybody felt with nobody to help them. You can see the poverty, drugs the commodity. Hear the streets talk about the rivalries and robberies.
My name is Antoinette Lawson, founder of Women with Voices, and for the past 2 years I had a healthy relationship with Cure Violence, and for the past 11 years so I've been collaborating with Trinity Alliance as a whole, and what we've been doing together is trying to find healthy and unique ways to cure the violence and what that looks like, and how do we do that through theater and empower.
Darze Reed, a Troy rapper, was killed while performing a show in Albany in 2013. He says the whole street culture needs to change.
We need these kids to have some kind of community center or youth development center. These kids have nothing to do. Idle hands turns into violent hands.
Things that I think about when it comes to gun violence is that we can talk about gun control, but what we have to do is we have to look at the demand side. Why are young people, or why is anybody picking up a gun and deciding to commit violence? And if we can get to the answer to that question and help people to find opportunity and to find a path forward that doesn't include violence, that's how we measure success. And without Cure Violence, we wouldn't be able to have that one-on-one interaction, that credibility, and that ability to really talk to people about a future, about the path that they're on, and about how we can literally seek to change their lives.
Director of Albany Cure Violence. Our parent organization is Trinity Alliance of the Capital Region. Our violence prevention organization whose main goal is conflict mediation and preventing retaliatory shootings.
Hi, my name is Eva Bass. I'm the CEO of Bridge the Gap Community Outreach, and I work in partnership with Cure Violence. We do a lot of outreach in the community. My goal, our goal with Bridge the Gap is to make sure we work on unity and collaboration within the community, bringing other organizations and individuals to come against the violence, the poverty, and the strife in our community. We do a lot of mentorship, and we help a lot of people to be able to overcome their life obstacles. I think that our partnership is very strong and effective in the community, and we look forward to working with them in the future.
It is an issue plaguing the streets of cities all around the nation, and it's also right here in our own backyard, gang activity and gang-related violence. But here in the capital region, it's really two cities who are at odds. As Lynn Falsetti reports, it's a battle that is taking young lives.
Through the neighborhood sometimes on a warm night, and you can just sense the tension in the air.
Over the past few years, John Cooney has seen gang tension brewing between two cities in the capital region. And it's being fueled by violence and now social media.
Stacks and tied his chucks up. He had the nerve to have a deuce. He thought he locked up. So he heard the 80 blow and got his chucks stuck. Most of y'all used to get talking. Y'all ain't riding though. You always riding through Lex. Where y'all hiding though?
The last decade or so, the whole face of the gang presence have changed. What we now have is younger groups, children, really getting together and just taking out all the personal beefs that used to be settled in the schoolyard to a whole new level.
People to put their guns down. We want our children to be able to grow up in safe communities.
And why are you out here? Tell him why you're out here.
To stop the violence.
To stop the violence.
I like to invite you to come take a ride through place that I call home, land of the spiteful, grimy, greasy. No, you don't believe me. Product of my environment. When you see it, you see me. A reflection of the streets that raised me. Yeah, my mama tried, but mama couldn't save me. 13 selling crack, watching cops double back. Kept a fiend whip, 2-door red Pontiac. Me and my ace boom, we go hard, so stay tuned. Parole dates is coming up. Yeah, he'll be home soon. My town claim lives, ain't claim mine yet. Breathing is a blessing when you coming from where I rest. Watch the lot go here, life short, so a lot of us got no fears. Place where my head rests with 787 and I-90 intersect. Home of the restless, 87 North, 23rd exit. Place we call Albany, but I'ma paint a picture for all to see.
But to get killed, you know, yeah, I'm fearful of that because I can walk outside right now and get shot.
Teach them other ways on how to address issues and concerns or dilemmas that one face.
Welcome to my city, welcome to my hood.
Welcome to my city, welcome to my hood.
If anyone wants to partner, volunteer for events, or would like us to do a presentation of our Cure Violence Snug model, or knows a high-risk youth who may be a good candidate for our program, we are located at 341 Clinton Ave. Phone number 518-694-9191.
Stop the violence, increase peace. No more shooting, take the guns off the street. Nope. Take another route, take another route. Take another route, take another route. Stop the violence, increase peace. No more shooting, take the guns off the street.